But it's not only companies that screw this up. People do this all the time. This is actually a person that I know who's really capable. But if you can't read it, let me read it. This is a description of who they are. I assist people in product-driven solutions that resonate production, collaboration, and return. $20 to the first person who can tell me what the hell that means. Does anybody resonate, by the way? I mean, not in some sort of quantum physics sort of way. Do you resonate collaboration? What is it with product-driven solutions? Why is everything a solution? I'm sitting there thinking, it's like, okay, so I have my spousal solution, and at night we sit on our seating solution, and then we enjoy the entertainment solution, and perhaps there'll be conjugal solutions. You know, I mean, what? Speak English. Speak plain English. What we'll do is just sort of look at something and collectively begin to understand and get our heads around where I want to go. Does everybody recognize this? Right? Took place really close to here, right? A little bit south. So this is what? The Wizard of Oz, right? Everybody gets it? It's amazing. This is almost a 75-year-old movie, and yet generation upon generation, everybody sort of knows the tropes, the elements of this particular story. So, you want to play? What's the story about? Dorothy and a witch, great. Okay, that's absolutely true. Oz, it's about Oz. You know, so friendship, fantastic. Home, absolutely. That is the key central message of The Wizard of Oz. There's no place like home, right? There's no place like home. So it's a pretty easily understood story. We understand this is about a young girl. She basically runs out. She meets an irate neighbor. She's got this fantastic, loving family. And this irate neighbor really is angry about her dog. And then, of course, what happens here every third week, a tornado comes blowing through, and she winds up in this place, and then it's the adventure, and she meets these people, and we learn that the desire to have a brain, the desire to have a heart, the desire to have courage are all things that you have inside, and these are things, you know, it's a beautiful, beautiful story. We all understand the context of this. But if you think about it, another way of looking at this particular story is this way, okay? Transported to a surreal landscape, a young girl kills the first person she meets and then teams up with 3 strangers to kill again. How is that wrong? Right? It's not wrong. It's exactly what happened. But this is the Quentin Tarantino version, right? This is Oz Unchained, you know? And you've got Uma Thurman instead of, you know, Dorothy Gale and, you know, Samuel L. Jackson. And, you know, I mean, this is a really cool movie. So, this is an illustration, but does everyone recognize this guy? Right. Does anybody, what is it? Measuring your foot, it's a foot measuring device. Does anybody know the name of it? It's called a Brannock, okay? This little guy is like, I love certain forms, right? This little guy makes me happier than you can imagine. I own one. I own one. It's in my studio, it sits on the floor, and people go, what the hell are you doing with that? And I'm like, let me tell you a story. It breaks down like this, if you just want to simply frame this. Content is your stuff. When I meet with different firms and we talk about things, if it's an issue, if it's a product, whatever it is, the discussion becomes is what problem are you solving? The manufacturers in this room, when they look at the launch of a brand, when they look at materials, they're thinking specifically for a market. What can we do with this? When you guys who are supplying service to the end customers on a design project or on a build project, you're actually functionally solving a problem. So content, you ask yourself, what are the things that we do and provide through our service, through our product, that actually solves a problem? Context is your audience. Isn't it interesting how many times you come out of a meeting and you feel like you weren't understood, right? They just didn't get it, okay? And oftentimes what you learn is the audience actually is sort of speaking a different language or on a slightly different wavelength. And then finally, clarity is this whole idea of the language that you use, right? It's often said that generationally people are speaking two different languages. It's said that from coast to coast in the US, people are speaking two different languages. And these guys are a company called Perch. Perch is absolutely an amazing story. The CEO and his partner at Perch basically neither of them come from a retail background. One of them actually was the president of Design Weave long before they got rolled up and bought into another firm. I think it's Shaw. Shaw? Okay. What Perch is all about is if you go appliance shopping and you go to Home Depot and a Lowe's and you see what's being offered there, Perch starts where those guys stop. But what the founders of Perch looked at is they looked at all of the approach to the content that is the appliance market. And they saw that if you wanted to go up into the Wolf, to the Gaggenau, to the KitchenAid architectural series, those products and north, what you had to do is you had to go to a dealer. And that dealer would sell basically one of that particular product line and maybe one or two sub-brands. And it's very few households they saw that people actually had an entire kitchen built from that one particular product line. They also saw that the entire experience of going and buying those products is a little bit difficult because the salespeople are driven to actually close a sale, largely based on the fact that there's a warehouse sitting in the back with 40 refrigerators, 30 stoves, and that sort of thing. When you go into a Perch store, there is no inventory. You're only looking at the item, and if you want to buy the item, you wind up getting it delivered the same way you would if you went to a dealer. But what Perch is doing is they've looked at this particular market, and what the context that they're applying it in is completely different from a retail perspective. If you are someone who believes in retail and understands the retail market, these guys are breaking every single rule of retail. Space utilization and maximization breaks all the rules. Engagement in the selling process with the client breaks all the rules. This is an actual store. When you walk into a Perch store, this is what you see. And the first thing you see is a huge, huge, huge coffee bar with a barista. There is a full-time barista, and the plan is there will be one at every single Perch location. When someone at Perch walks up to you, they do not say, "Hi, can I help you?" If you look in the lower right, the first thing they do is say, "Hi, can I get you a coffee?" It is the most disarming experience that I've had in retail, right? I mean, it's really weird, but it's cool. And you walk in and you have a coffee, and basically what they do is it's not a disarming in some sort of deceptive way, but you begin to start engaging in this whole idea of not so much I need a stove, but what can I do with the stove? Everything that they do in there is trying to drive you to a position of joy. It's kind of a weird philosophy, but the CEOs, they're driven by doing nothing but imparting joy. And to do that, they learned that no one likes to be in a retail environment with a ton of crap piled up on top of you, right? People typically like that, and specifically when you get to this price point. Not only do you get coffee, but immediately to the left in a Perch store, there's a full kitchen. So it's not like you're theoretically looking at product, but there is a full active kitchen, and it's a full active kitchen because there's a frickin' chef in a white coat. And he's not standing there going, "Let me show you how this thing works," and it opens. No, there in every single store all day long is a roasting chicken. Okay, now start doing that math when you do 30 stores, 365 days a year, and you're roasting a chicken. And it's not for show. When the chicken's done, they cut it up and put it out for people to have. Chickens take a long time to cook, so what they're also doing is they're fixing pastries in these ovens. They're taking cakes that are cooling and frosting them. I heard a lady tell the story that she had a little girl. The girl was 7. She had never frosted a cake before. The chef was like, well, come on up. And the little girl frosted a cake for the first time with her mom there watching. What sort of loyal customer are these guys making? They're looking at things in a completely different perspective. They're framing their approach to presenting products, and they're making it incredibly clear that they're driving toward a position of joy. They sell 3 things. They sell kitchen, they sell bath, and they sell grill. The reason I laughed is because I forgot about the bath. When you go down into a Perch showroom, and if you're really into actually buying a product, you can contact them. They will close the door, and they'll give you an hour, and you can shower. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Unbelievable as I've seen a $25,000 shower head, but they do have other, right, there's a $25,000 shower head. It has lights, it has pulse, it has cool names. Crazy. If you get to Chicago, go see Perch. But this is not an affectation, right? These guys don't say to the external world, we're doing this. They do it for themselves. This is the entrance to their corporate office. When you walk into Perch, the question is a little bit different. It's not, first, would you like a coffee? It's, hi, who are you here to see? Would you like a coffee? And by the way, if you don't want a coffee, there's fruit-infused drinks, there's teas, there's all sorts of variations. But the same exact experience from a standpoint of welcoming, this is what they're doing, and they're bringing their suppliers. They're working with their partners, they're working on the land deals, they're working on hiring. Every single Perch store that's opening, they fly the entire store of employees into their headquarters, put them up for a week, and immerse them in this experience. They're completely reframing what, again, you got to go above the Home Depot and the Lowe's end, but they're completely reframing what that experience is